Tom Holland's most embarrassing moments. You know him, you love him, and you know he has a knack for making us laugh with his antics. It's everyone's beloved cheeky British star, Tom Holland. The actor, known for reprising his role as Spider-Man in 3 of MCU's highest-grossing films, is known for a few other things as well, having a propensity for embarrassing moments. Today, we're looking at some of the actor's most embarrassing moments to date. Sit back, relax, and get ready for some laughs. The world's most awkward interview. It's hard or near impossible to come up with the single most awkward interview moment in history. However, Tom Holland seems to have his name come up in one of the most awkward interview moments of all time. If you've been following the British actor for some time, you'll probably know where we're going with this. While promoting MCU's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier at ComicCon, the panel was open to questions from the audience. The panel included Holland, Sebastian Stan, and Anthony Mackie. You have Spider-Man, the Winter Soldier, and the Falcon, a star-studded stage, and one you'd probably expect the audience to respect. After all, it is Comic-Con, and you have the biggest names in the comic book universe on stage. Was everyone respectful? Not necessarily. When the host announced that the panel was open for one last question, 2 girls stepped forward. You could tell they were ecstatic to be there. In hindsight, who wouldn't be? The questioning started off fairly tame. One of the 2 girls held up a picture of a fan art their friend drew of Holland and his dog, Tess. Holland let out an awe, and the crowd was enjoying the moment. 2 girls showing their affection for their favorite Marvel character and his dog. Now, people know who Holland is, but perhaps not everyone knows who Tess is. Sebastian Stan certainly didn't. Who's Tess? Pause for laughter. Oh my God, that's his dog. Educate yourself. Pause for awkward silence. While it obviously seemed like the girl made the comment without thinking, and if she was thinking, she probably thought it was funny, it did take the panel by surprise. Holland, at this point, seemed visibly uncomfortable. This is when Anthony Mackie took over to tell the girls off, albeit in a comedic way. Did the girls stop there? Not really, no. After the first girl made things awkward, the second girl made it even worse by throwing an obvious tantrum in front of Mackie, who at this point was visibly annoyed with the 2 of them. Where was Holland in all of this? Holland was sitting quite visibly awkward and trying to alleviate the situation. Spider-Man tried to get in a word or 2, but he was either cut off by the girls or by Mackie. According to Reddit users, the whole encounter made things incredibly weird, and what's worse was that the convention was nearing its end at this point. Things didn't have to end as sour as they did, but oh well. How Spider-Man found out he was Spider-Man. In the movie series, Spider-Man finds out he has spider-like abilities by accident at the school cafeteria. Peter Parker had no idea he was Spider-Man, and apparently neither did Tom Holland. In an interview on the Ellen DeGeneres show, Holland revealed that he didn't know he had been cast as Spider-Man until 6 weeks after his audition. This probably doesn't seem that embarrassing, but Holland found out he was to play his role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe after it had been posted online. Recounting the entire ordeal, Holland revealed that he'd been waiting to hear back from Kevin Feige about this audition, but it had been 6 weeks and no one had called him. He thought they were probably going with someone else for the role, but he was in the dark about that too. Then one day, he saw that the MCU had posted onto their Instagram a link to find out who had been cast as the new Spider-Man. Interestingly enough, Spider-Man had no idea he was Spider-Man. Holland's brother Harry was the one who broke the news to him first, followed a little shortly afterwards by a call from Kevin Feige. I know, Kevin, you just posted it on Instagram. Learning to laugh at himself. Holland is known for several things: his cheeky smile, his phenomenal role as one of MCU's most beloved characters, and for his ineptitude with keeping secrets. The last one has gathered him quite a reputation. Producers and directors allegedly have to reinstate the fact that a film isn't supposed to be discussed before its release. In the past, Holland has managed to give away major spoilers, scenes from the first film, the fact that Spider-Man was to be a trilogy, the fact that his character goes off into space, and not to forget the instance he stood up at a movie theater and loudly proclaimed, "I'm alive!" to a movie audience who didn't know he had died in the movie. It's become somewhat of a running gag at this point. Tom Holland can't keep quiet. To his defense, it's not entirely his fault. Sometimes the questions are structured in such a way that he loses balance and spills secrets. In a short clip posted on social media, Holland pokes fun at his producer's deepest, darkest fears. Holland left unsupervised with his script. He addresses the camera, holds up the script, and addresses the producers of the film he's working on not to worry. Holland then follows this with placing the script in an oven, effectively burning it. If you don't know the actor and what he's been accused of, you'd think this was a bit theatrical. However, if you don't live under a rock and are aware of Holland's tongue-in-cheek attitude, you'd know this was an absolute necessary move for the betterment of MCU. Starstruck and confused. Spider-Man: Homecoming was arguably Tom Holland's breakthrough role. Not only was it his first major role, it was the major role. When the British actor was cast to play Spider-Man in the Avengers Civil War, he was barely in his early 20s, which meant that he had practically grown up watching his co-stars reprise his favorite roles for years. Holland claimed to have been particularly ecstatic to meet Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. Who wouldn't be? Recalling his first encounter with the actor, Holland claimed he walked into a dressing room and saw whom he believed was the actor. He walked up to this man, shook his hand, and exclaimed that he was beside himself for finally having met his idol. Although Holland did admit to the actor that he looked somewhat different in person than he did in his movies. Cue ominous background sound. The real Robert Downey Jr. walks in and Holland realizes he's just been giddy with the actor's stunt double. A Holland moment at its finest, but at least it gave Downey a fair idea of who the star was and what he was going to be in for. Croissant versus Quaxin. How do you pronounce the name of one of France's most popular breakfast items? Croissant, croissant, or are you like Tom Holland and pronounce it as Quaxin? There's a pretty notable difference between croissant and Quaxin, and apparently Holland slipped up once several years ago and his fans aren't willing to let him live that down. In an interview, Holland claimed to have been able to pronounce the word correctly, but his fans weren't that forgiving. He claimed that several fans would walk up to him, take their cameras out, and ask him to say, Quaxin. Holland, the lovable person that he is, would look into the camera and say, Quaxin. Holland doesn't know how to spell Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal isn't a man you could easily forget. To Holland's defense, he didn't forget who the actor was either. He just didn't know how to spell his last name. In a segment with Jimmy Kimmel Live, a screenshot from the actor's phone was put on the screen wherein he had misspelled Jake's last name. Holland seemed to be somewhat taken aback from the fact that he had misspelled it. The actor tried playing it off. He was originally Ryan Reynolds in my phone, but the host Jimmy Kimmel pestered, "Can you spell Gyllenhaal?" It was like being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Jake was right there. There wasn't much Holland could have done except take a swing at the name. G-Y-L-H. The audience and cast on stage burst into a chuckle, and Kimmel let Holland off the hook. All right, so you can't spell it. Holland and his butterfingers. What would you do if you saw Tom Holland walking down the street? Odds are you'd probably squeal in excitement and run up to Spider-Man and ask him for a picture. Holland is known for complying with a smile and a great attitude. However, fans beware, Holland is also known for accidentally dropping fans' phones whenever he's asked to hold the camera. In a radio interview, Holland confessed that on one occasion too many, he extended his arm out to take a picture but accidentally dropped the fan's phone. We know that Holland didn't mean to do it. Look at him. Holland went on to say that he would get flustered afterwards and quickly apologize. When asked if he would replace the phone, he replied that he hadn't so far. Minor wardrobe adjustments. In an interview with Graham Norton on The Graham Norton Show, the host pulled out an image of Holland in his Spider-Man suit. The image showed Holland practically living in costume, which prompted the host to ask the actor how much he loved being in it. "I go to the bathroom in it, actually." Cue the audience's laughter, but Holland stuck by his statement. He meant it. The actor went on to say that after Robert Downey Jr.'s second movie, he asked for several adjustments to be made to his Iron Man costume for better mobility and, well, accessibility. Holland, on the other hand, after 5 movies, was granted a zipper. In all honesty, Holland seemed pretty thrilled with what he had and wasn't complaining. If anything, he was probably more thrilled with the zipper than Downey would have been with his suit. Complex problems require complex solutions. With the onset of COVID-19 and people stockpiling on everything from milk and toilet paper to eggs and bread, supermarkets were largely barren. In times of crisis, people tend to bring out their creative side. Who could be more creative than the kid living a double life as a superhero? Tom Holland channeled his creative side to its absolute max. In a video posted on social media, the actor talked about how he visited his local grocery store to get some eggs, but with the current situation, there weren't any. Since the situation wasn't new and was expected to remain the same for some time, he announced that he planned on alleviating his egg concern once and for all. Tom Holland bought a chicken. Well, he bought 3 of them, actually. In true Holland fashion, the actor brought up one of the chickens to the camera and proclaimed that to fix his problem, he decided to go to the source of it, literally. What made the video even more hilarious was the fact that the chicken managed to get out of Holland's grasp and the actor had to abruptly end the video, probably to keep the chicken from crossing the street. When Will Smith infiltrated his home. A clip that lives in our heads rent-free is probably that of Tom Holland chasing after a pigeon that made its way into his home. Holland adorably called the pigeon Will Smith, after the actor and he were cast to co-star in the film Spies in Disguise. Holland approached the pigeon as swiftly as Spider-Man could and even tried to get it safely into a towel before releasing it back outside. The clip is a short one, but it was the sweetest thing many people have ever seen. In hindsight, most of what Holland does is sweet. What are some of Tom Holland's most embarrassing moments that live in your head rent-free? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. We'll see you back here soon.